Our first coffee visit on the trip is Daniel and I head out to Chivre area, which is in Bandung, and visit Pak Gunawan's washing station. What's really cool here is he's a former tea machinist, building machines for the tea industry, and all of his processing machines are ones he's built himself, including the pulper. He has this fish pond right next to the house there. We had to take motor scooters up because a car couldn't easily make it up the road to the station. And those are his fermentation tanks. So the real surprise in visiting this is on the bed, I thought it was Robusta. In fact, it's actually Indonesian cardamom, which is different than Indian cardamom used as a spice. The Indonesian cardamom, as you can see here, is most often used in cooking. And because the coffee season had just ended, Pak Gunawan had thought that he could use his beds to get a second income from drying Indonesian cardamom. This is part of the innovation of looking for other ways to extend the usefulness of a coffee washing station with other products. Yeah, it's amazing smell. A little more like a pungent, spicy soap smell in a sense. And there's some leftover coffee end of the season. I remember now why I keep making the same videos over and over. This sort of walking on a coffee farm video. It's because it's so awesomely beautiful most of the time. This is fantastic. This is West Java. Actually, just outside of a village that I found out from my notes, which I save all the time on my phone. I was here 7 years ago. Different lifetime. Feels like pre-COVID. These are the farms that are planted in leased property. These sort of government-owned forestry, agroforestry plots, but they're just beautiful. And of course, I'm in my own world, so I lost the people I'm with. There's some new plantings that are new pruned coffee. Yeah, I totally lost them. This is great to see, though, the pruning. Very rare to see people manage coffee this well. As it just grows and grows, you lose productivity. So at some point, you have to bite the bullet and prune it way down. Let it regrow the herbaceous growth in order to get coffee. I mean, it looks beautiful like this. That's the top and the bottom. But you're going to get less and less production. At a certain point, you have to do that to it. It's a mix of varieties. There's no real old varieties here. Mostly Andung Sari, Kartika. From what I understand and see. I thought these were a cedar tree, a pine or cedar, but I'm told they're a different type, and I, of course, promptly forgot the name in Bahasa or Sundanese. West Java is Sunda culture. It's different than East Java, and then Jakarta in that area. Something you'll see here, which is really, looks great to see coffee developing. Let's go in a little closer there. However, what you're seeing is a tree that's very confused by the weather. You see a flower, you see some cherry developing, you see some micro cherry. It doesn't know what to do. This is flower that just bloomed here. Here you see flower that's died. It's bloomed and died off. And this tree is basically showing every single stage of cherry development in one plant. Because with the kind of irregular rain patterns and stuff, the coffee doesn't know what time of year it is. It doesn't get clear signals. This has been a really big problem with production. It's extended over really long periods of time and has peaks, and then production goes away. Farmers won't even pick the coffee because there's too little to pick. And then suddenly they're back in harvest a month later, but the exporters have already sent coffee, and it confuses both commercially how to work with coffee, and it comes from the plant. The fact the plant is sort of getting all kinds of mixed signals because of changing weather patterns and global warming. I can't remember the name, but the Indian Ocean equivalent of El Nino. We're in Sumatra. It's just raining nonstop, way more than usual. So anyway, it's gorgeous coffee area. Cicadas area. Rancha Bali, Java, Sunda. It's an intense sound. We've been stuck in cars and long drives so much. Just a little bit of walking at elevation is kind of killing me. We are in Sunda, Java, one of the typical for this area, but very unusual in the broader scheme, ways that coffee is planted, which is in pine forests. They're government-owned land that's leased out to co-ops of organized farmers. They're harvesting sap from all the pine trees, as well as growing coffee here. There's the lower part of this sort of reserve, so there's a lot of Robusta. For example, right here, the big leaves is Robusta, and right next to it here is Arabica. So that's Robusta, it's Arabica. Wow, that is so loud. I see there are people growing some other crops in here. There's a bunch of farmers up in little shelter there, hanging out. It's Sunday, so also looks like it's about to rain. So See how this goes. These are older Arabica trees. A lot of the coffee is distributed by government, and that would be Cigararuteng, or would be the main variety, Katimor type, but these look like older types. So this is really unique appearance for coffee. This is young Robusta, but everything grows. You just don't see many leaves because the shade is so dense here, so dark. And this year, Indonesian coffee has been very expensive and trading at really high prices. A lot of reasons. The internal market, the consumption of coffee here has really exploded, and that's great. I mean, there's a lot of coffee roasters and shops in Jakarta are buying a lot of coffee that they can just go up into the mountains and have a relationship with the farmer and produce exactly the type of coffee they want. There's a lot of farmers coming down from the mountains right now. Hello. The kids come up and hang out. Hello. Hello.
Where are you from?
I'm from America. Yeah, United States. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm so embarrassed I don't speak Bahasa. Been here like 20 times. I should learn some. This is literally Kopi Luwak. Natural. So I'm in the middle of a field and they pointed it out that a luwak had come along and that's what they left behind. But there's just no reason at all that would be any better than any other coffee that you pick and process here. There's nothing special. It's sitting on the ground. That's not good. Wet. Who knows? So a coffee dry mill is a really important part of preparing the coffee for export. So the coffee comes in from the farms either as green bean or in parchment, and it needs to get hulled out of the parchment and then sorted and prepared by density and by screen size. This is the first step. There's a couple machines here that are pre-cleaners, and they will remove any large pieces or pieces of string from the bags or anything else. And it's just a preliminary step to clean the coffee before it goes into the other machines that are in a sense more important. So between each machine, the coffee goes into an elevator and is elevated up into hoppers that then feed down into the machines. That's the second pre-cleaner, and that is a very impressive control panel. These are also remove any heavy objects. Sometimes little stones get swept up in with the coffee, and so they're called destoners as well. Those big pieces of string there, those come from woven poly bags, and those machines are sometimes called scalpers too. I don't know why. And now it goes into an important piece of machine, which is the grater, which grades the coffee by size, separating large and small beans. And then it's going to come out here, go into some hoppers, get elevated. And here in its special little glass box is the digital color sorter. A color sorter like this, you actually can profile in the image of a coffee bean that you want to remove. And as the coffee is shot past these cameras, Airstream will selectively shoot a puff of air and remove coffee that has a discoloration or defect. So this is coffee coming out of the color sorter, and this is a wet hulled Java coffee, kind of like traditional Sumatra process. So it kind of has a darker color and more variation to it. If you've seen like what they call Sumatra mandling, that's sort of what this coffee is and what it should look like. Here's where they're actually infeeding bags of coffee into the color sorter, and somehow it's just satisfying to watch coffee in a coffee mill. It's really actually quite a fun experience, except for the incredible level of noise. And a lot of coffee mills now have really elaborate dust collection systems, which makes it so the employees don't have to wear dust protection all the time. Old style mills were really dusty, very bad. Just even it's organic material, it's bad to breathe it in. These are the finished bags that are going for export of a wet hulled Sumatra style coffee, but from Java. That's the dry mill.
And that's the dry mill. Is that it all?
Oh, it's like a horror movie. Having a good day?